to this edition of A Conversation With. I'm Jim Marshall of the New Bedford Cable Network, and we're going to have a little bit of fun today. We've got some folks coming in from the SouthCoast Children's Theater to join us. They've got an upcoming show in May, and we've got some of the guests here. We've got some of the talent here, and they are guests on our show. Sarah Lawrence is the artistic director for the show today. We've got Kedzie Calabrese, who plays Yvette, and we've got Charlie Long, who plays Roderick. And they are performing Diary of a Wimpy Kid, which has never been done here in the area. And
Nope.
it's going to be a great thrill to see this show, which is coming up, as I said, in May. Thanks for coming in.
Thank you.
They got out of school and they've made it in. They've been nervous all day. Tell us a little bit, let's start with you, Sarah. Tell us a little bit about the show itself. As I said, this is, I think, one of the first times it's ever appeared here in this area.
Yep. So the show came out around 2016. It has not been done in, I don't believe, New England at all before. We typically try to choose our shows so that way they have some tie into education. So this is a complete book series. The musical sums up the Diary of a Wimpy Kid book series by Jeff Kinney. We're super excited. We've reached out to Jeff Kinney's bookstore, Unlikely Story in Plainville, to see if he's able to come and see our show or send us a message. So we're looking forward to hearing back from him. He's from Massachusetts, so we thought we'd honor that and do Diary of a Wimpy Kid the musical.
How do you go about picking a show?
It's a lot. It is a lot of stress and pressure from all the kids and the families in the show. Sometimes we take suggestions. Last year we did, everyone wrote down a little title and we picked one from there. I do have a creative team that I work with. I have 3 choreographers, a music director, stage manager, assistant director, and we have our board of directors. So we all kind of contribute and we come to a decision.
Because you've got to get, I don't know what the correct term is, but a contract, right, to do these shows. So you've got to figure out what you can what you can do.
Yep. So there's platforms online where you can apply for licensing and royalties for musicals or plays that you want to do. So usually we look through titles that are popular or titles that we may have not seen around here before, like Diary of a Wimpy Kid the musical, and we apply for them. It is pretty costly, but it's for the kids.
Right. SouthCoast Children's Theater has been around a long time. It's a very successful organization. Yep. What do you attribute that to?
Well, it started in 2008, and I was in 8th grade. It was started by my dad, Dennis Lawrence Jr., and a couple of his close friends. There wasn't much for youth theater in this area back in 2008. Now there's, we've got some great friends in the community who also do local youth theater. I was never a part of the children's theater in a show, so I helped direct right from 8th grade on with my dad, and since then I've taken over. So it's fun. We're on year 17, and we're just gonna keep going.
It's funny because theater in schools is, and I'm going to talk to you guys about this too, but theater in schools has changed too. I mean, it used to be classes always would do a play, no matter what grade, but that has changed, and it seems now it's only really in high schools if they do it.
Yep. A lot of the elementary schools don't really have drama club, or the middle schools, or they don't have the means to put on like large scale performances. So that's our goal. We don't charge children or families to participate in our musicals or our plays that we do. So it's a great opportunity. We have 80 kids in this show, which
That's a lot of kids.
is a lot of kids.
Yeah.
Typically we usually have around anywhere between 70 to 80 in our cast. So it's a free opportunity for them, and we find a place for all of them.
Charlie and Kedzie, what interested you in joining the group, and what attracted you with this play or this performance?
My cousin Sydney started theater, I think a year or 2 before I did, and then I joined when she did, and so I just continued after that. So in like 2018, I think I started.
How about you?
Well, when I found out they were doing Diary of a Wimpy Kid, I was thinking about if I was going to join or not, because I had some friends doing it. And then I decided that I wanted to do it and try something new, because I've been doing the same theater groups for a while now. I just wanted to switch it up a little bit.
So you're in 7th grade, you're in 8th grade. I didn't check what school. What school do you go to?
I go to Friends Academy.
Okay, and you?
Dartmouth Middle School.
Dartmouth Middle. So what interested you in theater? Again, because it doesn't really happen in the elementary school, so you had to get the bug somewhere. Where did you get that from?
My cousin, just because she did it, and then next show that was Little Mermaid, and so I was always like a big fan of Little Mermaid, so I went and I did that too.
Charlie, how about you?
I started at my school. I was in 5th grade, and my school actually did Little Mermaid, and I joined it because, like, for the fun of it, all my friends were doing it, and I just wanted. I always had that like want to be on stage and stuff, so I auditioned, and we had a lot of fun, and then I realized that I wanted to keep doing this.
What's interesting to me is so many kids are so shy. They don't want to be on stage. They don't want to be seen. There's a lot of talent, but they don't want to do that. So it's amazing when you see young people that really want to do that. Even adults don't want to be on stage or be in front of a camera or whatever. So you have a leg up on a lot of your peers at your age. That's really great stuff. So tell us about your characters and tell us a little bit about the show.
My character, she's kind of like a mean girl. Her friends are Patty and Pauline, and she's kind of on the side. She's not really a main character, but she still follows whatever Patty does and bullies Greg and all of them.
How about you?
Roderick is the older brother of Greg, and he's sort of like he's like an emo, like a dark. He's head of the band Loaded Diaper. He likes to antagonize Greg and just basically torture him. But yeah, the show, it's really fun when I get to play a character like this because it's different for me.
Tell us a little bit about the books too, because I am unfamiliar with this whole with the books. I know there are a series of books, and as you said, this sort of wraps up all the books. But tell us, what's the premise when you look at the show? What should people expect?
So the main character of the books is Greg. In this show, he is going into middle school after being in elementary school all this time, and he has a diary. And he doesn't want people to call it a diary. He wants them to call it a journal, so that way he doesn't get picked on, whether it's by his big brother or the mean girls or any of the other hooligans that are in school. So he really just journals his whole life in this diary. It's a pretty significant part of the show. The diary itself is just a small little red book, similar to the shirts that they're wearing. And he writes everything down in that diary as the show goes on. But he also likes to cartoon and doodle. So a lot of our set pieces and the design going into the show will reflect similar to the books. When you read the books, they have cartoon doodles all throughout them with lines, just like lined paper. So all of our sets will reflect that too. When you try out, and I assume there's tryouts, did you identify the characters you wanted to play, or did you try out in general and that's the part you ended up with?
There's always like a list of characters that you want, and then you have a certain song that you have to sing for them, and so you go in preparing lines in a song for a certain character to show that's who you think you are and who you want to play.
How about you?
Yeah, same thing. We just memorized a monologue, memorized a song, and performed it, and then we danced, and
they left it up to me to decide.
But there's so many kids that are trying out. I mean,
Yes.
it's unbelievable that
Yep.
you've got, and I'm sure everybody wants to be the lead.
Yes. So we had 87 children come out to audition, and we offered every single one of them a role in the show. Since then, some have, dwindled down. Commitments are tricky. We do rehearse multiple nights a week, and the week of the show is pretty intense. But we are steady at 80 children right now. So.
The commitment for you guys are in school, you've got classes and all sorts of stuff. The commitment to do this show, or to do any production, has got to be pretty tough, because you're trying to keep your grades up and you've got all sorts of things going on. Talk a little about balancing school and cleaning up your room and stuff like that with doing the show. I guess the room gets left out.
Yeah, not really.
I just thought I'd throw it in there.
But my school ends at 2:05, so after I get out, I get home and then I like relax because I'll always have something after school, whether it's theater, volleyball, or lacrosse. So it's easy for me because they're not always on the same nights. So I just go to whatever it is. But it is hard to keep up with like homework and stuff, especially because I want to get home and have that time to relax, but I also want to finish all my stuff at the same time.
How about you?
So at first, it was pretty easy for me because I didn't have a ton of rehearsals. And I was doing 3 plays at the time. And
Wow.
Yeah, a lot.
From school too?
Mhm.
So you had 2 from school plus this?
Well, 1 from school, then 1 in another group, and now this.
Wow.
Which, yeah, the other group just happened. But
I got to ask, did you mess up lines? Did you remember what performance you were doing at a given thing?
No, they all went pretty well.
Okay.
But I'm glad that they weren't there weren't any conflicts
Yeah.
with each other. But I usually this spring I'm not doing any sports because
You play sports too. With 3 performances, you're still playing sports.
Yeah, but I needed time because with sports I could not do these performances. Yeah, so.
Took a seat.
Well, you're both playing. I mean, it's amazing the stuff that. So, what do you like to do? I mean, is this what you want to do? I mean, there's so much. Which, listen, I think it's great because, and the reason I say that, you've got so many kids who specialize in one thing, and really by the time they get to high school, they're burnt out. And you guys are doing multiple things, which is great because you're interested and you're not doing the same thing, and I think that's helpful for you guys. But you know, is it hard to do all that? And it can't be like that all the time, though, I would imagine.
No, not all the time. It is hard sometimes. Like last year, I was doing 3 plays at the same time. So that was hard to balance because they were on like the same nights sometimes too. But I think theater is something that I've always wanted to like pursue, even though like I've thought about getting older and like having to get a job.
You're gonna get older, okay? You don't have to think about it. It's gonna happen, all right?
What I was gonna do as like a job when I'm older, and always trying to figure out how I was gonna make time to do theater or something on the side because it wasn't something that I wanted to give up because it's something I really enjoy doing.
What about you, Charlie?
I hope that I keep pursuing theater when I'm older, and I hope I don't lose interest because I find it really fun, and it's probably like my favorite hobby.
Really?
Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah, it's just I've always liked it, even as like when I was little.
Why? Why? So why? For both of you, why? Again, it's hard to get up on stage in front of hundreds of people and perform.
Yeah, I think I don't know why. I think it was just like something like.
Because you don't have to be yourself? Is that part of it too?
I like being different characters.
Mhm.
So I like being able to sing, I like being able to act, and I like to like have like an audience. Like maybe I'm just an attention seeker, but I just
Well,
love
are you like that at home? Or have you always been like that as a kid?
You can ask my mom that question.
No comment.
Yeah.
How about you?
That's kind of what I was gonna say too. I like being like in the
Center of
center
attention,
and
yeah.
having people watching me, but it's also like nerve-wracking too. But it's like it's the point where it's fun for how like nerve-wracking it is. Like it gets you like excited because you know that people are looking at you and you can't like really mess up. But
So you were mentioning, Charlie, which I mean, there's singing, there's dancing, there's acting. Any one of those is hard, but you know, in this show, you're doing all 3. Is there one that you like better than the other?
I definitely like singing more.
Okay.
And because it's like a mix of all of them sometimes. You get to act through singing and you get to act through dancing and sing through dancing. I definitely struggle with dancing, but I love singing. Like that's probably one of my main reasons I do theater.
That's great. How about you?
I also really enjoy singing. Anytime I'm by myself in a room or just locked up in my room, my parents will hear me belting songs.
When you get older and you get your license, you're in a car by yourself, you're usually
singing
too.
songs the entire time. But so I think singing is definitely my favorite. But I also do really enjoy dancing. I've just never really been a very coordinated dancer. So.
Is it so when you do a part like that and you're doing all 3, and you said dancing for both of you actually is the tougher part? how does that play out when you guys are practicing and trying to do a show? Is it more, do you I don't want to say study more for that, or how does that work for you guys?
I do make sure to practice my dancing a lot because I don't want to mess up on stage because that's really, really embarrassing.
Yeah. It happens though. Listen, it happens. By the best of them do it.
You recover and you keep going.
Yeah.
Yeah, you just gotta act like you were meant to do that.
But how about you? I mean, do you sit there and like, all right, I know that dancing's my weak link, and I've got to put more into that than the other two?
Yeah, I as Roderick, I'm not in a ton of like group numbers. But
Okay.
in general, I think when it comes closer to the show, I like realize like this has to happen, like, because I don't want to like be the one that seems like he didn't try, and it's good to put in a lot of effort no matter what.
I would think that you mentioned dancing with the group or dancing by yourself. I would imagine dancing with a group is harder because everything's choreographed. If you dance by yourself and you mess up, nobody really knows. As you said, you could kind of fake it and like, oh, I meant to do that. But if you're dancing with the group, it's a lot harder. And I would assume timing has got to be perfect.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's what we've been working on with everybody all at once. There are some numbers where all the children are on stage at the same time. But we have 3 wonderful choreographers who get it done. And they work on timing with them. They start with the very basics of movements. And we run it and clean it and run it and clean it over and over until May.
So there's, as you said, there's 80 kids in the performance. So South Coast Children's Theater, how big a net does that cast?
Oh.
Where are the kids from?
So
I mean, it could be
pretty much everywhere. Yeah,
Yeah.
we've got.
Do you go from like Wareham to Westport or something?
Yep, we have. I think we actually, in the past, we've had some kids come from like Tiverton as well.
Okay.
Right now, I want to say furthest might be like Swansea, Somerset area, going out in that direction. But yeah, we have people from Rochester, Freetown, New Bedford, Dartmouth.
So every
surrounding
when you
areas.
do a show and you do a call out, I guess,
Yep.
for people that are interested,
Yep.
anybody can come in from the area.
Yep. Anybody. We usually try to, get our name out there, whether it's through social media, radio, New Bedford Cable Access, get our name out there. We post that when we're having auditions. We also offer summer camps and theater workshops in the fall. Usually we do a play, so not everybody loves musical theater, so we try to do a play in the fall as well.
What do you guys like better? Do you guys like to do, as you kind of said, dramas and stuff like that? Do you have any particular genres that you like to do? Do you like to do comedies or musicals or?
I think for me, I like, I morally like not the serious ones, except for some musicals that are an exception, but like I do like the funny, comedic, uplifting, like a show that like keeps like, so it's not boring for like once you get into like the second act and you want to be like, what's happening next, and like not losing interest.
I've always liked just any type of musical, but mainly more like serious musicals that emotions like change through it, and I do like sadder musicals too. I've always been a fan of like sadder movies and stuff like that. I don't know what, but mainly like my favorites are like Hamilton, Jagged Little Pill, a bunch of musicals like that.
Do you guys go see other? I don't know how with all the schedules you have, but are you guys able to see other shows?
Yes, all the time. I always go. I think the last one that I went to see was Anne Juliet, maybe? And that was only like a couple months ago. But I love going to see the shows.
How about you?
Time to time, I get to go to New York for Broadway.
Oh wow, that's cool.
I recently saw Wicked.
Oh wow, yeah.
Yeah, and I go whenever Dartmouth High has a show, I go to them. So
There's a lot of great. I mean, the schools put on a lot of great performances around here. That's for sure. I mean, the high schools do a nice job, and I look back to thinking, not knowing all the theater groups, but it's like, wow, a lot of these kids that are in high school must have started in high school.
Yeah.
They don't get what you have. As you said, really, I mean, South Coast Children's Theater has been around since, for 17 years, but in a way that's long, but in a way it's not long either.
Yeah, I think that's one of our biggest success stories too, is seeing where our kids go when they leave us. So we have kids from 1st through 8th grade, some like Kedzie, who's been with us since 2nd grade, some since 1st grade, some that, you know, join us in 7th grade. But watching where they go after that is amazing. We do have alumni that are performing on cruise ships. We have an alumni who works on the red carpet in Broadway, advertising. We have some performing in Boston right now. It's really amazing to see where they go after that and promote them.
It's interesting too that you talk about that. I mean, there's so many other aspects. Are you curious about how the show's put together, like the behind the scenes stuff too?
I've gone to like the workshop where they go to build the set pieces multiple times, and it's really fun to go and do that because it's like you're still doing the theater, but it's also kind of a break from it. And it's interesting behind the scenes too, because then you see the characters when they're not in character and they're off stage, and then the second they like quarter of the way on stage, they're immediately into their character and like shining however they do on stage.
Charlie, how about you?
Yeah, I think with she just said, well, at least not at home. For me, Roderick, I don't act like that in public, usually in like theater. So it's when I'm in rehearsals, it's different for me. And I mentioned this earlier, but some people might be like, wow, that kid, he's a lot different when he's acting.
Well, yeah, I mean, you're acting, you know.
Yeah.
I mean, there's so many venues that you can. There's so many different things that you can do with theater. It doesn't have to be in front of the camera. It can be or in front of
behind the scenes.
Behind the scenes.
We do like to offer all the families to come and help us during rehearsal times. A lot of times, parents will go down to our scene shop and build sets for us. It's all volunteer ran. We don't pay anybody to do anything, so everything when you come to see a show is done by volunteer work. We have a wonderful technical director, special effects. I had 2 dads on stage measuring everything last night, and it's really great to get the kids involved. Sometimes, you know, after rehearsals, they're painting there.
Well, you must chuckle thinking back to when you were first in 8th grade. Just the sets, just the whole productions technically have changed so much.
Yes, yep.
They're probably a lot more elaborate than what you experienced.
Yep, for sure. I'm very blessed to have the team of dad. Kedzie's dad helps a lot as well. I have a lot of dads. I have moms as well. Grandparents helping. A lot of people, when I say, hey, I really would like this, they make it happen. I don't know how they do it, but they do it. We've had a massive peach on stage for James and the Giant Peach. We had a whole house for the Addams family. We've had flying in our shows before. That's professionally rented, but we do not do that ourselves. But it's really amazing to give these kids the most, you know, professional scale performance that we can do, so they can get that experience.
So who do you guys look up to when you? Who are your? I don't want to say heroes because that's a tough word to put it. You always get let down. But who are your role models when you think of performances? Is there anybody that you like to emulate? Anybody
hard.
Any actors or singers or anything that you guys really like?
Some people might know him. Lin-Manuel Miranda. He's a Broadway actor. He played Alexander Hamilton on Hamilton. He's a music composer for a lot of musicals. So maybe, hopefully, one day I end up like him if I make it. But
your mother's praying right now.
Yeah.
All this money will be worth it.
Yeah.
How about you?
I think I just mainly look up to one of the girls in high school, Nadia, because anytime she gets on stage, she's just like immediately, immediately in character. Like she's perfect on any role that she does. She's strict and she knows exactly what she wants and she can get it done. And she's just super funny and amazing to be around. And so I look up to her a lot.
What's the most important part or most important thing that you need to have a good performance individually for you guys?
For me, I think it's to not care about what others think, and if you have to do something awkward, you do it because it's not gonna matter, and you want to be your best out there. So do what you want to do, and don't let others tell you. And just remember to stay in character, and sometimes you break character. That's funny, and then the audience, they understand, but just to have a good time.
Yeah. How about you?
Just think like you are the character, and if this was actually what you had to do, like you wouldn't be embarrassed or have like a different way to do it than, or do it as yourself. You have to go outside of what you're like comfortable doing, and just don't be embarrassed, because people are watching, but then if you do it right, it looks good. And if you do it like you're embarrassed, people are like, oh.
I would assume, I would imagine that discipline has got to be a huge part of what you do
You're working at Dartmouth High School, yeah.
every night.
Routines.
Right, but I mean, you've got to have the discipline to go to the rehearsals and do what that particular actor, whatever, is doing, you know, that you're supposed to do. You really can't go off on a tangent by yourself. You're part of an ensemble, so the discipline's got to be pretty good for you guys too.
I wouldn't say like super bad, like discipline. It's just more like more politely correcting on when you're doing something wrong. But I feel like the directors are really good at letting the kids like take the lead on what they think that they should do. And if it's really over the top or like not enough, then they'll tell them how to correct it.
And they have 80 kids, as she said. So it's like, I feel like they're gonna have to yell at some points.
Well, I don't mean them disciplined. I mean you guys have to be disciplined in what you're, you know, it's part of your regimen. Like I've got to do this, I've got to do this, I've got to, you know, you just internally you've got to be disciplined in how you're performing and what you're trying to do at a particular time. But you guys are very impressive. It's like I said, it's amazing at your age to be on stage in front of a lot of people, because so many kids don't want to do it. And I think it's great. I mean, I look at, you know, the two of you and what you're doing, and I don't hear any mentions of cell phones or anything like video games or anything like that. So I think that's a good thing, because there's so many kids that are doing that, and I think that's good stuff. Got a minute left. I want you to promote the show. It's coming up.
Sure. May 9th and 10th in May. It's Mother's Day weekend every year. We have a 7 p.m. show on the Friday and a 1 o'clock and a 7 p.m. show on the Saturday at Keith Middle School in New Bedford, 225 Hathaway Street, Boulevard, it might be.
Sounds good. What about for ticket information? Where can people go?
You can order tickets right online at SouthCoastChildren'sTheater.com, or you can buy them at the door.
And again, there's, as you said, the two shows, 7 o'clock on May 9th, 1 and 7 on May 10th.
Yep.
Knock them dead. Break a leg, I'd say. I never understood that saying, but break a leg.
Please don't.
I know. For folks interested in South Coast Children's Theater for the next time, like how can they get in touch with you?
They can go right on our website, SouthCoastChildren'sTheater.com. Our Facebook is usually most up to date and active as well. South Coast Children's Theater on Instagram and Facebook. We just announced the dates for our summer camp.
I saw that, yeah.
Yeah, so
there's a lot going on. And you encourage, again,
yeah,
all kids
yep,
are welcome.
all kids, 1st through 8th grade.
All right. That's going to do it. My thanks. Have a great show.
Thank you.
All right. That's going to do it for this edition of our Conversation With. I'm Jim Marshall of the New Bedford Cable Network. Thanks for watching, and we'll talk to you again soon.